Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Steve Walls of the W Show, along with my guy Darren Smith of the Ship on 810 WHB Sports Radio. Hey, we are here, year number 2 of covering Chiefs training camp. It's not the second year we're covering the Chiefs, but just the second year of us doing a post-practice broadcast. So we did this last year as we were live up in St. Joe, but this year we're doing it all virtually just because of how things worked out this season as the start of the season with training camp and COVID-19 and making sure that we're still social distancing and all that. So football can continue on and come back. Darren, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you. I know we had talked about it in the off season, and you kind of reminded me of it earlier this week. And look, man, I'm set, ready to go, man. Glad we can do this for a second year in a row, and give the people what they want. Because it's one thing I know about Kansas City, they want Chiefs content. So whether it's on the W, whether it's on the Ship on 810 and 101.1 FM, we're gonna give the people exactly what they want.
Exactly, man. And so we will be bringing you guys the Afternoon Gridiron. That's every day after Chiefs training camp. We did it, like I said, did it last year, and it was kind of an impromptu thing last year. We was just like, hey, you want to do something? Cool, let's do it.
Right.
This year we're dealing with the protocols and everything like that. We still do the Chiefs Zoom press conferences, and we're bringing you the post press conference this show here, which will be every day after, as long as the Chiefs have the training camp. So Darren, first off, today we had four guys come up and talk to us. The first being Andy Reid. What were your thoughts about Andy?
Andy gets it. You can tell. I think obviously, and we'll get to it obviously right after Andy. With the signing of the contract extension of Travis Kelce, you can see Andy feeling young again. Like there is no talk with him of even thinking about retirement, and I think knowing that the collective weapons that he has, it makes coaching even more fun. Granted, yeah, you're coming off of a Super Bowl win, of course, but the fact that you get to go back into the war room and draw up and design plans for all your talent that you got, and you know that you have not only the thoroughbreds but the horses and also the leadership, that you don't have to worry about players going out doing dumb things that would jeopardize this team's chances and organization's chances of trying to run things back. And I think this is going to be a challenging training camp for all teams, and not just the Chiefs, because you're in a situation that you've never had before, dealing with this virus. But look, they pretty much brought back the entire coaching staff. They brought back a number of the players, minus those that opted out. And so I think for Andy Reid, just hearing from him, man, I think this is going to be a season that he can't wait to get started.
And you know what? There was a question that was posed to Andy just about did he have any conversation with upper management?
Yeah.
With the dealings of COVID-19, and would he be like a quarantine and kind of step away from the team, just being up there in age? And it was an honest and truthful question that I know I wanted to know, and we had talked about it before. It just had to be asked, and had to be asked the right way. And Andy said no. He hadn't talked to anyone about stepping away or anything like that. And I thought that he would take some type of precaution in regards to the COVID-19 and taking it home to his wife, because both he and his wife are up an older couple. So, what was your thoughts about that?
I thought it was a good question, but I still don't think the question was asked fully as it should have. I would have followed up if I would have had a chance to ask Andy, and my question would have been, obviously, you see all what happened with Doug Peterson. Who will be the one that, if you were to get it sometime throughout the season, is there something in place that if you can't coach because you catch it, who's going to be called? Is it going to be Dave Tobe? Will it be Eric Bieniemy that's going to be running the team, calling the plays? And so that question did not get asked. That's what I would have asked if I do get a chance to ask Andy Reid that question later on, maybe Sunday or something. And that's the question I'm going to pose to him. And
it should be some type of contingency plan.
Yeah.
If one of the coaches gets sick, who's going to step in? I mean, there's a line of command, like you said, Dave Tobe or Eric Bieniemy, but they have to have some type of plan in place, because we all know that Andy is a planner. He said he had 8 different, practice plan scenarios that he had put in place just in case, something would happen. So
I'll be honest. They probably do have it in place. He probably just won't share it. But I'm almost but I'm almost positive. Like you said, he planned things out. He thinks things out, and I do believe that that's something that would be something that they would take into. I mean, you almost have to, because now, granted, like he says that he expects the players, he expects the organization to continue to do things well when they leave, and I think Andy is someone who really doesn't leave the stadium much now that they're back into things. But when he does, he'll probably just go straight home, and his wife will probably just go pick up a double cheeseburger or something for him along the
way. Right.
He doesn't have to.
And I don't know if you caught this, but Andy did say Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's getting a lot of work with the first group. Surprising to me. I mean, because
no, not really. You think that's surprising? It's a first round draft pick. I mean, and Damian Williams not there. I mean,
I think it is. I think it is. It's surprising because you drafted a running back last year in Darwin Thompson. You still have Darren. You still have Darren Williams. So when you look at that, I understand he was getting, but the way Andy mentioned it, it seems like he was getting majority of the reps with the first team.
Well, the only reason why it really doesn't surprise me, Steve, is because because we've had questions to Andy about what their expectations are for Edwards, and so again, I will go back to say that with all the expectations and knowing that he just got to playing and starting in a national championship game, helping LSU win a national title. I mean, he knows what it's like to play at that high level, and then to just kind of transfer with the offense and with the players and stuff like that. And again, without Damian Williams, everyone is going to get more rest, but you'd have to kind of figure out who would be the one that would get the majority of it. Now, I guess you can say because of the players that were already here last year. Well, look, there's a reason why Darwin Thompson didn't, his reps kind of, lowered towards the tail end of the season last year, which, may say something about his growth prospect within the Chiefs offense. But Clyde, look, he's played in a pro style offense. So I don't think that the transition would be that difficult for him to come from LSU to the Chiefs with this style of offense.
Now, Clyde did say when we first interviewed him, when he took the podium, that the Andy Reid's playbook was easy. And no, I haven't heard anyone else ever say that. And now when Andy talked about Clyde today, he did say, he's still trying to figure some things out. So I think that when Clyde comes back on, I do want to ask him, now that he's had a chance to take the field, what does he think about the playbook? Is it still easy? Because Andy did say that he was trying to figure some things out and working his way through it.
That's that's a very good point that you brought up, because he did say that. And again, no one's ever said something about Andy Reid offense being easy, be more complex, because there's a lot of gadgets and stuff in there. But yeah, no, we'll see. But again, for a running back, they just need to know their blocking assignments and know what lane to run through. I think, like I said, for a running back, that's the easiest transition from high school to college, from college to the professionals for someone playing that position. I just think that because of the expectation that not only he has, but fans and the team, and then look, a lot wasn't really expected from him, because we didn't know that Damian Williams up until a couple of weeks ago was going to opt out. And so, with that, comes huge responsibility. And I think that's something that he wanted to take upon himself to meet the challenge. And look, if first of all, he's not being asked to be an every down back. I mean, look, the team, he's not going to be an Ezekiel Elliott or Saquon Barkley. So again, you just have to just know your blocking schemes. Don't let Patrick get hit, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I mean, and then look, just run through the holes when the holes open. And right. I think, again, for me, I think Clyde, this is going to be pretty easy for him.
But I still think that for Clyde to be the guy, and I know that he's realistically, this team is not going to be a running style team. They're going to be a passing team, and so I still think that they will go out and find a veteran running back, even though LaShawn McCoy.
Really,
I think they're gonna bring somebody in, a veteran guy. I don't know who's out there right now that they could possibly bring in, but just somebody who because you still Darren Williams is his third year, Darwin Thompson his second year, and so it's a young backfield. And so just to have that veteran guy, and I think that's what LaShawn McCoy brought to the room last year, because remember, they had Spencer Ware as well and Damian Williams. So they're going to bring in that veteran guy that's able to mold these guys to be players. And I know you're going to say probably that they went to Super Bowl, so they should
no.
They
Actually,
have that under their.
Actually, I wasn't going to go there. No, I was just going to say that I don't think you need to bring a veteran running back in simply because of the team, the offense that's surrounding you right now. That I don't think it, because we're not going to rely as much on the running game. Where I just don't see that being that big of a factor where you bring a veteran running back in. Now, obviously, if he was to have some problems, holding the ball or fumbling or something like that, then yeah, perhaps you would do that. But I think for now, you kind of give him the opportunity to let him shoot himself in the foot, which I don't think he'll do. But because he's surrounded by Patrick and the wide receivers and Kelsey and then your fullback, I don't think it's necessary. I'm not saying that they're not going to do it. I just don't think it would be necessary right off the bat to do that.
Now, Travis Kelce signed his new deal. Before we get to Travis and what he had to say, Andy had said, when he was asked about Travis, that Travis is a leader. He is well deserved.
No, look, man, I'm gonna talk about it a little bit on Sunday show, and I'm probably sure you'll probably mention it on your show on Saturday. I'm just very impressed with how Brett Veach has navigated through the terrain. Again, it was a big joke, but it was true. The Chiefs at one time had $177 left in their salary cap.
They did.
And then somehow you find a way to sign contract extensions for 3 players worth upwards of $1 billion. Yeah.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, that's saying something, and I honestly believe that that's really not getting the just due that it really is. And look, was it now? The question that I probably should have asked Kelsey was there some type of timing where George Kittle got his and then you come get yours, because it happened the same day and just hours apart. So, look, he's well deserving of it. And like I said, the leadership stuff that you talk about with the Kansas City Chiefs right now is just off the charts. And I know we'll talk a little bit more about that as well.
Now, if you guys, people that's watching us, again, where this is, I'm Steve Walls along with Darren Smith. This is the Afternoon Gridiron, and this is the post-training camp. We're just going to talk about with the stuff that happened on each day's training camp. And so Travis Kelce, guy that came to the podium, if you guys don't know, he stepped up to he signed a contract extension, 4 years, I believe, between $14 and $15 million a year. Yeah, so not a lot of money, really. If you just think about the big picture, because he was on his second deal, which I believe it was somewhere close to $80 million, I believe. So now he's adding $50 million on top of that. So it's not a blockbuster type deal. However,
didn't need to be though.
Travis is one of those guys, leader of the team. He'll finish out his career here in Kansas City.
Yeah, look, going back to what you're talking with his contract, one, it didn't need to be a blockbuster. One, just because age being a factor.
Exactly.
Obviously George Kittle is younger than he is, and so people, if anyone thought that he was going to like jump over George Kittle, doesn't really understand how this thing works, especially with the fact that I think he still had 2 years left underneath his on his contract. So what it does though is that really, from how I see it, Steve, is that you look at what the salary cap could potentially be next year. It could be as low as $175 million. That being the case, the Chiefs would be well over $20-some million over the cap, so they would have to cut veterans and a lot of the players would be able to come back. What you're able to do, though, with something like this is that you're able to put a lot of stuff on the back end and front load it, saying with the signing contract, and have it spread out to where you're able to keep these veterans on the team. And another thing that I'm pretty sure we'll get to in the near future is the fact that the salary cap can be manipulated in so many ways.
Of course.
And this is a prime example of how Brett Veach and the scouting department and the salary cap team have been able to to manipulate those numbers for it to work in their favor.
And we got to ask Travis, why sign the extension? You could let it play out and see how things go. However, he responded with he wants to be around fun guys. He knows this group. He knows the talent that's here. And also he loves Kansas City. Your thoughts on him saying that, he wanted to come back?
It wasn't surprising at all. I mean, why leave a situation that you got in Kansas City?
Exactly.
And our guy Michael Coleman, we talked the other night about this just on the phone, and you talked about whereas in American sports, can you say that a quarterback signs for a $500 million deal and it's a team friendly deal? I mean,
right.
Literally, where he could have gotten it all fully guaranteed. He could have, he could have gotten more than $500 million than what he signed for. But the fact that he got that money and still left it out there to where, hey, he knows that he's going to be making money off the field dealing with, as a part owner with the Royals and all of his endorsement deals, to where, look, man, if I can give money back to the organization so I can surround myself with a Travis Kelce for years to come, with a Tyreek for years to come, knowing and then knowing that the Chiefs organization, you're going to have Clyde on a rookie deal for 5 years, and then you're going to have McCole on a rookie deal for the next 3 years. I mean, it's stuff like that where where you're Patrick, and that you need these players to be successful and for this organization to be successful. Again, it's this is the way that the NFL is going right now, where again you have to mix max salaries and rookie deals and stuff together. The Chiefs just have it to where all the stars are aligning perfectly up just for them right now and for really years to come.
And you mentioned all the stars aligning. I think it really started with them getting all these 1-year deals. I mean, Anthony Sherman got the 1-year deal. Demarcus Robinson signed a 1-year deal, and then Sammy Watkins restructured. Yeah. So when you look at all those things just kind of aligning in place, it set up Travis's deal. And not only that, but then you have guys like Frank Clark that's going to still be here. You have Tyrann Mathieu that's still going to be here. So your knit group is going to be here for at least the next 2 to 3 seasons.
And I've been thinking about this, especially since they're favored to go back and repeat, and of course, the pressure that they're put on themselves for running back.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my question to you would be is, who would you compare this Kansas City Chiefs team with the collective amount of talent? I don't want to say quote unquote stars, but collective amount of talent that you would compare. And if now I got one off the bat, but I want to. I got 2 teams, but I want to see who you think.
Ooh, I don't think there's been a team that has had the offensive talent and the defensive talent except Seattle. Probably nope. Seattle.
Nope.
Or St. Louis.
Nope.
I mean, they had. But the offense.
Dallas Cowboys. Look.
When they made that run in the 90s, yes.
And I'm saying that, and this is the team that I would compare them to, because you got the quarterback, you running backs that you'd be able to switch in, but obviously Emmett was better. But they also had a fullback, Sherman. You had Daryl Johnston. The wide receivers Michael Irvin, Alvin Harper, but I think we got better wide receivers. Tight end, the offensive line. Then you look at the defense. When they brought Deion in, but then on the front line they had Charles Haley, the linebackers Darren Smith, and then you had Darren Woodson. I mean, this was a loaded team. They had the coach, they had the special teams. I mean, seriously, the Cowboys should have won it 4 years in a row, but they won 3 out of 4. This is how I see this Kansas City Chiefs team really lining up. As long as injury doesn't hurt them, and obviously salary cap and stuff along the way. But that's who I compare this team to. And then if you want to go even further back, I would say the 49ers in the 80s, but that was over really a 10-year period. But for that short span right now, where you got that window, Dallas Cowboys in the 90s.
And I didn't think about the Cowboys, but that makes a lot of sense, and I do agree. Because when you look at this Chiefs team offensively right now, like we said, re-sign Travis. We talked about it a lot last year. To pick your poison. Who can you guard? Who can you afford to double team? And and let somebody else beat you. You can't afford that because if you double team Tyreek, try to double team Travis, you still have Miko who's coming in this season with a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
You still have Sammy Watkins, who's a veteran receiver that can go off at any time. But my thing, and back to the running back situation, that's why I think they need somebody in there that's proven, because right now teams are going to just be able to sit back and say, okay, we'll let your running game beat us, make him prove at least to be 5 or 6 games in. We're going to let you prove to us that you can run the ball and do it effectively against our defense.
But the flip side of that is just like Kareem Hunt, when he was here,
right?
I mean, he can kill you out the backfield. So look, that is the beauty of not only our offense or the Chiefs offense, but also Andy Reid and just the players that you have. Because look, here's the thing. You can't afford to sit back, Steve, because one, who are you going to double?
Right.
Because somebody will always be open, and look, Patrick can run. He doesn't really like to, but he can if he has to. I mean, when you look, man. First of all, your starting offense, or at least at the wide receivers, you got Sammy and you got Tyreek, and then if you go 3 sets, you got DeMarcus Robinson. If you go quads, then you got McCollum there, and then you still got the running back in the backfield, and of course you got Travis. I mean, there's just so many weapons to where, I mean. It's really a matter of what kind of defense are you going to put out there against them. Now, I will tell you this, because I know we're talking about offense, but I think the biggest pressure is going to be on the defense. One, because they were, you had a lot of new players coming in, and I think you only had a couple, Chris Jones and I think Javarius Ward, that were really here before all the new players came in, and then of course. Steve Spagnuolo. So now that they got that year underneath them, and as they got better building to a crescendo to the Super Bowl, now everyone has this full year underneath the defense. And the thing is, you hope that they can still play at that level that they left off with in the Super Bowl, because that the offense is going to score points. It's going to be up to the defense more so, saying just to bend, not break, so to speak, and the fact that they got so much better as the season progressed. That's what I'm really hoping to see in 2020, is that the defense takes that next stand where you don't have to worry about coming together, because you all already know the offense. You know where you need to be. You know the positions, and Steve is going to put you in a position against the offense where it should make it much more easier. I'm not going to say 19-0 like I did last year, but my 19-0 still ended with a Super Bowl title. So, but if that's the
either way,
either way, still.
Yeah.
Just looking at the team from the outside in, that to me, I think will be the biggest question mark for me. Will just be whether or not the defense can maintain or can sustain what they did last year, and then just let the offense. Because look, we know that the offense can be down 24 points and still come back and win. But in the defense along the way made stops or whatever. The question is, will the defense not put the team down 24-0 in that predicament to where they can do that?
And we talking about sticking with the defense. Two defensive guys talked today.
Yeah.
Tyrann Mathieu being one, and Tedrick being the second. So starting with Tyrann Mathieu, he talked about competition, being able to put on the pads and go out there and just compete. And he also spoke about, as you just did, Spags, what Spags means to him. And he said the Spags understands what buttons to push. Knows exactly what buttons to push and teach and reach, and that's what it's about.
No, look, man, it's funny when we sit here sometimes, man, and we listen to these people on the Zoom calls, and when you sit back and you see Tyrann, you just sit back, you like, man, I like this guy, like I can rock with him. I'm saying, I see him on the streets, and this is my guy. I'll go and defend him, because he is everything that you want to have embodied in a leader for your locker room and what coaches look. Obviously, when he first got into the NFL, he had his problems and stuff, but he grew from it. He learned from it, and now, of course, he's pretty much the face of the defense. While Patrick is of the offense, and they both play off each other. Andy compliments him. I think he's a captain as well, along with Travis and Patrick, and I can't think who else might be. But look, man, I love this dude, man. I love, I love what he's about.
I do too.
He's active in the community, and look, you see why the Chiefs made an effort to bring him in, and then Spags fell in love with him as well because he knows the type of player that he is.
I do agree, and you mentioned Tyron being that leader, and so when you look at another guy that spoke today, Cedric Thompson, coming out of Seattle, new to this team, playing defensive back or free safety. So he said that the guy that he looked up to, even when he was at LSU, is Tyrann Mathieu, T5, as they call him.
Yeah, I was shocked about that.
Very surprising to me. I mean, the first person that he didn't mention I thought would be Earl Thomas until I think you asked him about Earl, and so that's very surprising. He said the camp is definitely tough.
Yeah, and and again, that says a lot about Tyron to where, he said, and Tetrick said that, when if he had a daughter, if he has a daughter grow up, he would want them to, marry someone like a Tyron or Russell or something, or even a Patrick or something like that.
That was surprising.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
Huh?
I said that was surprising. I definitely wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, and so, but again, that shows the type of character and the type of person that he is, and the respect that you're getting from your peers, from those around the league who made, look, he said God led him here, but God led him here for a reason, and the fact that you're there, with the Tyron that you can learn from, and here's the thing. Tyron's a winner now. He winning a Super Bowl kind of helps that, and Frank as well, because he played with Frank when he was drafted by Seattle the last couple of years. And so the fact that now you've got these, you got these players here that that you look up to and that you played with. Now you want to feel, or you want to have a taste of that success, and they can teach you, they can show you how to get there. And so I think it's going to be very important for them to do so, for him to learn from them.
I do too. So just recapping, you guys just now tuning in, joining us, Steve Walls, Darren Smith. We're bringing you the Afternoon Gridiron. We're going to be doing this every day following Chiefs training camp. So today, I think, first day getting back in pads. And so I think they're still filling each other out. And I know one of my questions that's going to happen to Andy Reid is, you have all these young guys, you have the young players, and everybody's going to be trying to fight for a job, the new guys coming in. How are you going to keep these guys healthy? Because you have these young guys that are
trying to prove something.
There's no training camp. And so a guy that wants to make a hit, let's say Travis Kelce is coming across the middle, how do you keep your stars healthy?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't even want to try to answer that one for him. That's a good one, Steve. Hopefully you'll get a chance to answer. If you don't, I may have to steal it. If they call me for it, and if they don't call you, I might have to steal that. But I have to give you credit for it. That's a real good point, because again, there's no preseason games. So the only time you're going to be able to do something is 7 on, well, basically 11 on 11 in practice, and that's the only time that you. But I guess the biggest thing is that the Chiefs know who their 46 are. I'm thinking maybe it's just the final 7 or whatever the final roster number is going to be.
But you still have those special teams guys who you need.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, that's that's a real good question. I don't know.
You still have to go full speed. I mean, if you're going to do punt return, if you have Tyreek back there, and you probably won't in this time, and in practice because Tyreek, but you still have to get him some game-like situations, because the last time they played was in February.
Yeah, not Tyreek. I think Tyreek he ran a punt back. I think I don't know if it was Minnesota or one of those games where he fumbled the ball, and then I think he came back. But I think he kind of got away from special teams altogether. I think it was more so McCole.
Or even McCole. And I think Byron Pringle is going to be doing kickoff returns. I read something somewhere that they said that he's going to be doing that. But, I mean, how are you going to keep these guys healthy? You see, Andy Reid talked about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, getting most of the reps. Your depth at running – now it comes to your depth at running back not being that deep. So if he's getting most of the reps and he's supposed to be he's your draft pick, first round draft pick, you want to keep the pads off of him as much as possible. Yeah,
but you're not really. I mean, but how even at the camp that we were at last year when they were in St. Joe, I mean, how much real hitting were they really doing?
But they had the preseason games.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right. That look, that makes a big difference. Makes a huge difference.
Yeah, you don't want to have your first time Patrick getting hit and going to the ground being.
But that's going to be for every team, though. So I mean, it's really going to be for every team. I mean, it's really going to be a matter of blocking assignment, the people just doing their job. Because again, that goes for any team though, with no preseason and really, I mean, you can't even practice against other teams this year. So that's, I mean, you bring up a valid point. I just don't know the answer.
But you think about other teams have more to lose than others. You get what I'm saying? Those teams that's on the bottom tier, they don't have much to lose.
No, I agree. I mean, and obviously everybody's going to be coming for the Chiefs because they are the king of the mountain. So no, I'm with you. I just again, that's a real good question, Steve. For Andy about how do you guard against? But he might just say it's football. If it happens, it happens. I mean,
you can't do that. I don't. And honestly, I don't think Patrick's first hit should be week 1 against the Texans. I just don't. I think he should see the ground and at least something, because if you're playing full speed, I just can't see it. I don't think Tyreek or Travis's first catch.
I'm going to have to respectfully disagree. Well, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with you on Patrick. Yeah, Patrick's first hit needs to come against
I'm not saying a blow.
Going the red jersey on. I mean, a push maybe, but
I'm saying you fall to the ground or whatever. But I don't know, man. That's a touchy subject, and I'm going to get that question to Andy the next time. It's just, how are you going to keep your star self? Because you got guys.
I'm gonna write that down for Sunday because I'm gonna send them. Hey, I got a show at noon. Let me get a question today.
Don't steal my question.
I will only steal it if they don't call on you. If they don't call you before me, because you know how they do.
All right, this has been Steve Walls and Darren Smith, the Afternoon Gridiron. We appreciate everybody that's tuned in. Remember, we'll be right back tomorrow with the Afternoon Gridiron and every day for the near future. Remember, with social distancing, remember to wear your mask when you're out and about. This is an Afternoon Gridiron. Steve Walls, Darren Smith.